All right, let's take a closer look at today's painting. I love this dynamic here. And I feel like I don't control what the images are going to be, but I really love that this one is like, looks like a dad and a daughter, and it is my dad's birthday today, so happy birthday, Dad. And I love this, his kind of patient and slightly amused look as she's, I'm guessing, asking for something or trying to state her case or something like that. It looks like she's, and the elements are just so fun. So it feels like they're set in water. So I want to say that's emotional. Now, these generally, and when I do private readings, I always say everything in the image represents some aspect of self, a little bit like dream interpretation. That's kind of my philosophy on that. So this would be like a masculine aspect, like internal masculine. The glasses are like rectilinear, they're squares mostly. So I feel like he's looking through the lens of stability and foundational thing, very much like, reminds me of my dad. He's very linear in that way. So it's like this internal aspect of self that is looking through the lens of stability and practicality and things like that. At this, it feels like young, youthful, you know, maybe new energy, a new idea, something like that, new creative energy, feminine, kind of flowing, very airy, and like set in water, so, you know, emotional, kind of expressing. I love that there's like a listening aspect. You can actually see his ear, so there's a part of ourselves that looking through, but has some creativity, right? So it's a curly head of hair right on their head, so they're, and like the lines of the beard too are very linear, so this nice mix of creativity and practicality, looking upon this external aspect, something that in ourselves that's expressing itself, and making its case. And kind of, there's a listening going on, there's eye contact. It's really a nice scene here, and it's whipping up some emotional stuff. So we may, you know, the air, the winds of change, this kind of creative energy that we are, maybe it's some behavior because it's on this right side, so there's maybe some behavior that we're expressing that's kind of whipping up, but this like solid arms crossed, this aspect of ourselves feels really stable in that kind of whipping up of the waves of our emotions. So it's a really interesting scene. So I pulled a card around it too. So this is the message for today, is that, you know, there's some dynamic going on. It's almost like a storm front where two seemingly opposing things are coming together. So there's a lot of movement and change, but just if you can kind of slip into both view perspectives, you can slip into this like kind of masculine, stable, practical, linear kind of listening, and also slip into this like imaginative, expressive, creative, youthful, energetic aspect, and kind of you can go back and forth. So this card that came through, actually two of them came through, so I'll talk about both of them. The first one that popped up, I think it's amazing how much it matches. Like, we've got these kind of orange dragons. They feel like they're in like a waterfall here. What's interesting about both of these cards, when I created them, the paper tore in a heart shape. They were created probably a year or more apart, but both cards came up today. So it's an interesting thing about, like, there might be some difficulty or tear in our day, or something where we think something went wrong, but it actually is creating space, you know. So like you could look at this like, oh no, the paper tore, but it actually was the foundation for the message that came through. It says, there's no need to fear falling when you have wings. Unleash your power by exercising your freedom of choice. So as things are changing, you have a lot of freedom of choice, and that's our power. Our power lies in our ability to choose our perspective, to choose what we look at, to choose what we focus on. Practice emotional agility. That's all this watery energy that we're in. Move with it. It's okay to change your mind. There's stability, so there's that stability in the ebb and flow of the heart. So I feel like this is like a father, like a loving father looking upon a daughter, and so that it's very heart-centered, and considering her perspective, sort of. So be in your heart space with it as you're looking at the aspects of yourself. Give yourself some grace today. And this also is the follow-up card. It's again this tear. When that tore, then I painted this heart here. It says compassionate ascent. When the heart breaks open to make space for the suffering of another, the universe expands. Ascension is not a solitary journey. Together we rise. So we also have these two figures. So like I said, everything tends to represent some aspect of self, but the interactions that we have with other people in our lives are a reflection of what's going on internally. So keep that in mind. Show some compassion, not just to others, but also to yourself, right? So feel things. Don't be afraid to feel today. It might be a very emotional day for many people. I started crying right before this because I was thinking about my dad because it's his birthday. And I got all sobby because I miss him and I love him. So let yourself have those emotions. Let yourself move and flow with it, with your attention. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you think too. What's coming up for you when you see these images. Either way, have a great day.